Hello and welcome to the Mike Less Farmhand Mike YouTube channel, bringing you some of the biggest and best variety and definitely the most versatile farming content on social media today. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Farmhand Mike. Hey everyone, welcome back for another exciting corn silage video. In this exciting corn silage video, I am out in the field in Northwest Ohio with Orrson Custom Farming out of Apple Creek, Ohio, as they are custom harvesting for a dairy farm in the area. Like a lot of my corn silage videos, this is going to be a long video, and in this video you're going to see them doing the whole deal from chopping, hauling the corn silage from the field back to the farm, and pushing and packing the silage pile. To start out in the field, they are chopping the corn silage using their two Krone Big X 1180 self-propelled forage harvesters, both with their Easy Collect 1050-3 headers, taking 14 rows of corn at a time. And a little history on Orrson Custom Farming. They are based out of Apple Creek, Ohio. They started custom chopping in 1946 with a one-row New Holland chopper just in the local area around Apple Creek. They chopped for a lot of years just around the Wayne, Ashland County, Ohio area. Then in 1997, they started traveling out of state to do custom work. This crew will generally start the year out by going down to Georgia at the end of March, 1st of April, chopping ryegrass for several dairies down there. Then they will come up to Ohio where they will chop some haylage. Then they will move back to Georgia about mid-July when corn silage is ready. They chop a lot of corn down in Georgia. Then they'll move up to Ohio. When Ohio's done, then they'll move up to Michigan to chop corn silage there. Usually wrapping up somewhere in October, but depending on the weather, as late as November. All the equipment you see in this video belongs to Orrson Custom Farming, starting out in the field with the two Krone Big X 1180 self-propelled forage harvesters. They're running a total of 10 semi-trucks here. And back at the farm at the silage pile, we'll see later on in the video, they're running two four-wheel drive articulated Case International tractors with blades, a Model 500, a Model 550, and they're going to have three Fendt 927 tractors on that same silage pile with blades. I've known of this crew and this family for several years. This is my first time actually being out in the field getting video of them doing their thing. And if everything works out, I do hope to meet up with this crew in the future for more videos. Starting down in Georgia in the spring doing ryegrass, catch them doing some haylage in Ohio, then I would like to get back to Georgia for corn silage. I did get invited to another farm down there. It just hasn't worked out, so hopefully that'll work out for 2023. And then if everything goes good, catch these guys in the fall in Michigan. The Orr family also farms around the Apple Creek, Ohio area. Now let's talk a little bit about the Krone Big X 1180 self-propelled forage harvester you see in the video here. This is the largest forage harvester in Krone's lineup. These are powered with a Liebherr D9512 V12 Stage 5 diesel engine. It is 24 liters in size and putting out 1,156 horsepower. One thing that I think is really cool about these Krone self-propelled forage harvesters, if you look at the cab on these, the cab is raised up in the air. So once they get this machine folded out in the field, the cab actually raises up quite a bit, so the operator has great visibility over the corn and into the truck. Later on in the video, I will have a video shot of them folding the head up and lowering the spout and the cab. As I said earlier, this is a long video. I got lots of great drone shots, some on the ground shots, and I did get to ride in the cab with John Orr himself. Now, I was out here in the evening. That's what you're seeing right here, and then I was back the very next morning. So we got lots of shots in the field here and back at the farm on the silage pile that you'll see later on in the video. I mean, this crew was putting on such a good show. I had over 70 minutes of total footage to edit through for this video, so I want to try to get it down to a manageable time. But anyways, I'm going to quit talking now, and we're going to turn this video over to the sound of the machines in action. few rounds inside the cab of one of the 1180s here with John Orr. He is on a radio headset with all the truck drivers, so everybody in this field is communicating back and forth. There's a lot of chatter on the radio, so I did silence this just so you didn't have to hear all that awkward talk about telling the truck to move forward, back up, slow down, this, that, and the other. But as you can see, we had a beautiful day, a beautiful evening here in Northwest Ohio, and they just keep going around and around, 14 rows at a time. And I know you probably already noticed, but I might add, this is a good-looking field of corn all the way through.
Get it out of here.
And one thing I'd like to talk about is custom harvesting. When we talk about custom harvesting or custom harvest crews, a lot of times we think of the combine crews that do the wheat harvest out west that start in Texas down in May or June and then work their way up into the Dakotas, Montana, out into the Pacific Northwest, even up into Canada doing wheat, and then come back south for fall crops. But there is a lot of custom crews that do forage or chopping like you see right here, and a lot of those crews belong to the United States Custom Harvesters. Now, I've done a lot of silage videos with custom harvesters, but most of those just work in a pretty small area around home and don't travel like this crew does here. Now, I've done a lot of wheat harvest videos with the big crews that make the full run in the wheat and so forth. And I just put this all together here when I was riding in the chopper here with John Orr. He is a member of the United States Custom Harvesters, and we got to talking about wheat harvest, and he's actually friends and knows a lot of the guys that I've done wheat harvest videos with, such as Paplo Harvesting and other crews. So as I travel all over the country doing these videos, turns out it's just a pretty small world after all. Now, I got another story that's going to top all this off. When I left here, as they were finishing up this evening, I stayed at a hotel in Bowling Green, Ohio, and I went to Bob Evans' restaurant for supper. So it was dark when I walked into Bob Evans, and I'm by myself, so I get seated at a table, and there's a group of people sitting over at a table, and one of the guys calls me out. Turns out it is Wagglemuth Harvesting out of Elizabethtown, Pennsylvania, who I've done videos of down in Texas and out in Idaho cutting wheat. They were actually coming back from out west finishing up their harvest. So this video here was shot like the second week of September, and they're coming back from out west going to their home farm base in Pennsylvania. And they were staying at the same hotel I was. They had two of their combines on trailers right there at the hotel parking lot and so forth. So I ended up moving tables and sitting with them. Turns out all these guys know each other too. So the next morning I get up, have breakfast, come out here to video these guys, talk to John Orr, tell him who I run into. He said, yeah, I know. They already talked to each other on the phone. I know it all sounds pretty crazy, but it just seems like I randomly run into things like this when I'm out on the road traveling. And sure enough, after Bob Evans, I get back to the Holiday Inn Express parking lot, and here is two Awago Moose combines. They still have one machine that is out in western Nebraska harvesting millet. They were going to hit the road the very next day, right at daylight, and make it back to Pennsylvania, where they will start doing fall crops there around their home farm in Elizabethtown, Pennsylvania. Now, if you go back on my YouTube videos, I did do a wheat harvest video with Wagomuth down in Texas. I did do one with them in Idaho, and I also got them doing soybeans last fall out in Pennsylvania. But before I left the field where oars were chopping, here's a couple shots from inside the cab of the chopper before they ended the day.
Copy, I can do that on the way in, I don't care. Processing is. I think it'll probably all fit on Jonathan, I believe. Copy that, Barry. Your copy.
And here's the footage from the very next morning. They got moved to another field. Now, when they do finish up a field, they're all chopping fairly close to the farm they're cutting for, so they run everything back to the farm so they can fuel and service everything in the morning. They got out here, got an early start. They're getting this field opened up, and I got a lot of good drone shots in this field of both machines as well. And then later on here, we'll head back to the farm, and we'll watch them push and pack the silage pile. They were just putting on such a good show for my camera that it was hard to just stop getting footage. anyone notice the truck switch off right there? So the truck that's pulling up right now was actually the first truck when he was coming down splitting the field, and it was starting to get almost to the point when he's blowing the silage over top. It was going to blow silage out over the back, so he switched trucks, made it to the end of the field. Then these two trucks switched places so he can top this truck off so it doesn't have to go back to the farm without a full load. I thought it was pretty slick. And sometimes some of the trucks need a little help getting out of the field. Alrighty, they got that field done. Now they're going to move to another field. So here's the process of folding up the head, swinging in the spout, folding the spout over, and lowering the cab. You can see it's all working together at the same time. The whole process takes just under a minute, then they're ready to move on to the next field. going to do it for this video. I hope everyone enjoyed it. If you did like this video, please go down there and hit that like button and feel free to comment below. And if you're new to my YouTube channel, I would really appreciate it if you would go down there and hit that subscribe button. Also, check back often. Lots of new and exciting farming content coming to my YouTube channel all the time. And if you want to see more of what I'm doing, you can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Farmhand Mike. As always, thank you for watching and supporting my social media.